your hands. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. Give me your hands.
Ain't nobody getting me.
All right. Give me your hands, give me your hands, give me your hands. He's got the knee on the back, he's taking her down as you would any really violent assailant that you just chased through the streets after she took an old lady's bag and hit her over the head with a brick. All right, that's what he's doing here.
You know, I love it. Chris Cuomo, welcome to Give Me Five. Chris Cuomo, who maintains that he's right down the middle. He has no political bias. Oh, they treated this girl like you would any common criminal who hit an old lady over the head with a brick. But you know what? You cuff every suspect. Every suspect is cuffed. I'm sorry, Chris. That's just the way it is. You know, they're burying a police officer today in New York City. That funeral is over, as you heard earlier in the show. You know, I know that's just like, oh, too bad. This girl did not follow orders from a police officer who was called in by the authorities to settle this matter. Now, he was fired. He was fired. Of course he was fired. What did you expect to happen? Of course he was fired, because you can't be a cop today. And that's what the FBI director basically said. You can't be a cop. Few and fewer people want to be cops, and cops are afraid to do their jobs because then they'll be fired. He was doing his job. Watch.
Now, a teacher who's supposedly trained on how to handle children like this calls the police for the officer to come in. The officer tells her twice to get out of the chair. She won't get out of the car, out of the chair. All right? Therefore, we have this altercation here, which she does not get really hurt in. The officer pulls her out, handcuffs her, all right, and that's it. Can the officer do that? Yes, he can do that, because you failed to comply. You are under arrest. You're failing to comply now. All right, so the officer can use whatever force is necessary to effect an arrest.
Okay, Harry Houck, former New York City Police Department detective and patrolman, and he's just stating facts. But you see, it doesn't look good. So even though you could do it, even though you're a cop doing your job, if it doesn't look good, you're out of a job. And this girl will wind up being invited to the White House. Why? Because she defied authority. She spit in the face of the cops. And now she's a hero. Sick society. Recipe for anarchy. More.
Harry, if you get called to this classroom and this kid says, I'm not getting out of the room, what do? I'm not getting out of the chair. I'm not doing it.
You pull out of the chair.
And as you pull,
twice.
She's not letting go. Then what do?
You pull her out of the chair and
like
you
this?
her down. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what you do.
So, Mark,
what are you supposed to do? Stand around and wait for her to get out of the chair?
No, I think that you have to try. Well, then let me answer it. Mark, right. what do you do in this situation?
He didn't want to answer. And Harry Houck's like, what are you going to do, wait for her? And Cuomo's, no, I think you have to, I don't want to answer. Well, because he's Mr. Right down the middle, you know. Mr. Right down the middle. My you-know-what. Here's more.
You get called to the classroom. You're a police officer. The teacher says, I can't control this kid. You say, get out of the chair. She says, no. Now what?
Well, before we get to the point where the police officers call, Chris, I mean, I think that's part of the problem that we have to analyze, right?
Right, but that's the general bigger issue. I wanted to deal with this in the specific first.
No, what I'm saying, in this specific instance, this child was criminalized. No, let me answer a question first. This child was criminalized when the police officer was called for classroom management. We're outsourcing classroom management to the police now.
The teacher disobeyed the teacher, disobeyed the principal, so the cops come. So now this kid is a criminal record or whatever, and that's the tragedy here. This is a sick world. One more.
Like in all these cases, people don't listen to the police when they're giving them a command. You must comply. And then Mark's giving people the impression that you don't have to comply to police officers. And that's why we're having a lot of incidents. You're giving that impression, Mark, every time I speak to you. You always have a problem, you know, talking about an officer's use of force, and I'm telling you it's as a result of a failure to comply. That girl got out of the car, got out of the seat when she was told there'd be no problem. But apparently she had no respect for the school, no respect for her teacher, probably has no respect at home or on the street, and that's why she acted the way she did.
God bless Harry Houck, and pray for us all. Thanks for watching.